which to me was very, very, because they did do the training now. So.
Okay. Okay. I saw where it says, yeah. Yeah, I didn't just.
Go to.
What was that? What was that? Orangeburg. Okay, that's what I was going to say.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's 1:30, and I'm going to call to order the full business session on the Commission on Accreditation for Law Enforcement Agencies. At this time, I'd call on Commissioner Holt to call the roll.
Commissioner Aden. Commissioner Anthony.
Here.
Commissioner Brown.
Excused.
Commissioner Connolly. Commissioner Cordner.
Excused.
Commissioner Farrow.
Here.
Commissioner Hunter.
Excused.
Commissioner Johnson.
Here.
Commissioner Kittredge.
Excused.
Commissioner Knight.
Here.
Commissioner Lucas.
Here.
Commissioner Margolis.
Here.
Commissioner Middleton.
Here.
Commissioner Moore.
Here.
Commissioner Myers.
Here.
Commissioner Parkinson.
Here.
Commissioner Purcell.
Here.
Commissioner Dove.
Here.
Commissioner Talon.
Here.
Commissioner Warren.
Here.
Commissioner Weber.
Here.
Commissioner Womack. Mr. Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Commissioner Holt. At this time, I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes from our last meeting, November 2014 in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. This time I would call on our committee chairs to give a report on their committee reports and advance any motions for adoption by the full commission. First up, the Corporate Affairs Committee chaired by Commissioner Warren.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. On behalf of the Corporate Affairs Committee, I called the meeting to order this morning at 8:30. I was joined by Commissioners Conley, Margolis, Talon, and Weber. We were also accompanied by Executive Director Hartley and Human Resource Specialist Rhonda Garner. After review and approval of the minutes from the November 2014 Albuquerque, New Mexico meeting, the first item on the agenda was an update on the budget report for 2014. We did close our financials in a very healthy position, reporting total assets of $6,254,712 versus liabilities of $3,878,856 for net assets of $2,375,856. Revenues versus expenditures of $5,020,892. Expenditures of $4,675,776 for net revenue of $345,128. Investments showed a net revenue of $359,000, correction. 2014 cash and cash equivalents at the close of 2014 were $1,853,629 as compared to $1,632,320 in 2013, or an increase of $221,309. When considering the balance sheet for the commission, it denotes a positive change in fund balance from $1,906,369 in 2013 to $2,375,856, or an increase of $469,487. So overall, very healthy position. Although we had a reduction in revenue, we had also a decrease in our expenditures. I'd also like to mention that conference management was effective in 2014. That resulted in a net positive financial impact of $157,471 from the 3 events, including Albuquerque, which was held in November, which netted $26. With that, Mr. Chair, I would like to, on behalf of the Corporate Affairs Committee, make a motion that we accept the financials for 2014.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries.
Next
Commissioner
item on
Warren.
the agenda was the 2014 audit. As I mentioned, we closed our financials for 2014 in a very healthy position. The audit was conducted. We are contracted with RAFA. The audit was conducted in accordance with generally accepted auditing standards. The audit report expressed a clean or unmodified opinion with no new accounting pronouncements. All financial activities for the year materially conforming to generally accepted accounting principles. No transactions entered into by the Commission during the year that were both significant and unusual, and no disagreements with management concerning financial accounting, reporting, or auditing matter that could be significant to the financial statements or to the auditor's report. The audit revealed no material weaknesses, and the financial records were determined to be fairly represented to the Commission's financial position. There were a few issues regarding financial reporting that resulted in adjustments, but that's not uncommon. With that, I would like to, on behalf of the Corporate Affairs Committee, make a motion to the full Commission that we accept the audit report for 2014.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Commissioner Warren.
The next item on the agenda, bless you.
Are you all right, Ron?
We did preview the corporate video project yesterday at the full commission meeting that will be made available to our attendees. The overall project was budgeted at $11,500, and it did come in under budget at approximately $10,000 or $1,500 under budget. There was also an FYI update on the conference app, the project for client support, which was unveiled at this conference to enhance the overall conference experience for our attendees. The next item on the agenda was the revised assessment report project. Originally, there was $85,000 allocated on the project to develop a web-based assessment reporting tool to complement the new assessment cycles. The projected cost now includes an additional $11,500 for resting IPI integration with Power DMS. Also noted a variance of plus or minus 30%, bringing the projected cost to as much as $123,935. So we would like to increase the amount of money allocated for this project, $45,000 or up to $130,000 with the funds coming out of the Special Project Fund. So on behalf of the Corporate Affairs Committee, I would like to make a motion to the full commission that we increase the funds to allocate up to $130,000 for the revised report project.
It's been moved and seconded to increase funding from the Special Project Fund. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Commissioner Warren.
The next item on the agenda was an update on the Power DMS agreement as it is being implemented in the field. We received an update on the 2015 budget to date. 1 month into our fiscal year, we show assets of $6,351,583 versus liabilities of $3,953,849 for a fund balance of $2,397,734. From the month of January, show revenues of $258,916 versus expenditures of $224,945 for for net revenue positive $33,971. Although we do show loss from investments of $9,303 to date. I'd just like to mention that the Reno conference, we have 497 attendees. We are projected to have positive net revenue at the end of this event. Also included in the 2015 budget, the addition of a Director of Client Services and Relations, Mr. Travis Parrish, will begin employment on March 25th. We did have an update on the status of the Virginia Employment Commission review and hearing that will be postponed until June. And lastly, we reviewed the conflict of interest forms that have been submitted by our commissioners, staff, and program managers. No indication of any conflicts that would prohibit service on the commission, that the forms were submitted for the record. And on behalf of the Corporate Affairs Committee, I would like to make a motion to formally accept those conflict of interest forms for the record.
All right, there's been a motion and a second to accept the conflict of interest forms. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion carries. Commissioner Warren.
There were no other matters to come before the committee, and we adjourned our meeting at 9:21 a.m.
Thank you. Just for the sake of our audience, we threw a lot of numbers out at you. The good news is CALEA is strong, fiscally very strong, and we have been improving our fiscal strength while also holding the line, I think, in an incredibly powerful way, given the cost, everything else is going up, to try and help our clients, especially during the recession, keep this process affordable and with a high return on the investment you make. So I'm very proud of the work of Corporate Affairs and particularly our executive director and staff in managing your resources with a great deal of stewardship. With that, we'll go on to the Outreach Committee. Commissioner Parkinson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Outreach Committee met this morning at 8:30 in the Shasta 2 meeting room. The meeting was attended by Commissioners Holt, Moore, Lucas, myself, and we were assisted by CALEA meeting planner Jim Brown. We approved the minutes of the November Albuquerque meeting, and we received a report from staff in relation to the 2017 conferences, and I'm pleased to report that the contracts have been signed for November 2017 with Jacksonville and July 2017 with Providence, Rhode Island. We're still working with the candidate for the March 2017 Mobile to get a signed contract there. We reviewed the 2018 conference RFP, which is due to be distributed, and a motion to approve that took place. There were no other matters coming before the committee, and we adjourned at 8:50.
Thank you very much. Our Outreach Committee has done a great job of working with our conference planner, Jim Brown, who many of you know, and I think we can say when you heard the financial numbers of the net gain as a result of these conferences, it's largely through the work of our Outreach Committee, working with Jim Brown, and again, making sure we all get the best bang for the dollar in that regard. Next up, I would like to call on Commissioner Johnson for the report of the Standards Review and Interpretation Committee. Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The SRIC committee met this morning in 8:30 a.m. in the Tahoe room. Present for the meeting were myself, Commissioners Anthony, Knight, Middleton, Purcell, Ryder-Dove, and Womack. Unfortunately, a number of the commissioners were unable to attend that meeting. Absent at that meeting were Commissioners Aden, Brown, Cordner, Farrell, and Kittredge. We were assisted by Assessment Manager Shepard and Regional Program Manager Scott. A number of items were dealt with, and Mr. Chair, I have two groups of those that are going to be moved to the full commission for posting to the field for comment, and I would like to do those first, if I may.
Go ahead.
The first standard was Campus Security Standard 21.3.7, dealing with body-worn cameras. And at this time, I would move to the full commission the acceptance of that draft language for Standard 21, Campus Security Standard 21.3.7, and post that to the clients for comments.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The next item before the committee was revisions to Campus Security Standard 34.1.5 relating to property and evidence, and this was simply a wordsmithing change to that document. At this time, I would motion to the full commission the committee's recommendation to approve this standard change for posting to the field for comment.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And if I may, let me mention at this point, those two standards, while are the request is to post those to the field for comments, they are companion standards to law enforcement standards that I will be moving on later in the report for full adoption. Moving on, the next item before the committee was proposed revisions for relating to accreditation manager training through all of the programs, all of the law enforcement or CALEA programs. So in essence, this recommended language would apply to law enforcement, campus security standard, communication standards, and a training academy as it relates to accreditation manager training. As you know, the current standard simply requires that those agency employees designated as the accreditation manager must receive appropriate training. The new languages proposed would extend that required training to be to any employee, agency employee that is involved in the accreditation process, although not designated as the accreditation manager. The training at a training level is to be determined by the agency. So at this time, I would move to the full commission to accept the draft language for Law Enforcement Standard 33.54, Campus Security Standard 18.54, Communication Standard 5.2.13, and Training Academy 4.7.5, and send the standard changes to the clients for comment.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you. The next item was the proposed revisions to Law Enforcement Standard 22.2.8 relating to military deployment. This too was a minor word change and to provide some clarification as to what constitutes long-term military deployment. Current language refers to a 90-day period as the criteria. However, it was pointed out that that may not be in compliance or in alignment with some of the military and federal language. Therefore, the proposed revision will change that 90-day criteria to 181 days. And I move at this time that to the full commission, the revised language of Law Enforcement Standard 22.2.8 to be sent to the clients for comment.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you. The next item was the proposed revision to Communications Standard 1.2.2 relating to expectations of privacy. This, too, is a simple wordsmithing, removing the word law as it pertains to public records. At this time, I would move to the full commission the acceptance of the draft language for Communications Standard 1.2.2 to be sent to the clients for comment.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The next item before the committee was the proposed revision to Law Enforcement Standard 41.3.8 relating to body-worn cameras. This is the companion standard to the one previously mentioned regarding the campus security standard. This standard has field for comment. At this point, at this time, I would motion to the full commission for the acceptance of the revised language of Law Enforcement Standard 41.3.8 for full adoption.
Moved and seconded to adopt the revised standard. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you. Next item is the proposed revision to Law Enforcement Standard 32.2.10, Communications Standard 4.3.11, Training Academy Standard 5.3.2, and Campus Security Standard 17.2.10, all relating to probationary periods. This was simply added wordage to provide more clarification to those standards. They have been posted to the field, and at this time I move to the full commission the adoption of the proposed revisions to those standards. Law Enforcement 32.2.10, Communications Standard 4.3.11, Training Academy 5.3.2, and Campus Security Standard 17.2.10, and recommend full adoption.
Second.
Moved and seconded to accept the recommended standard changes. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Commissioner Johnson.
Next item was a proposed revision to Law Enforcement Standard 35.1.3 relating to reserve officer performance evaluations. It was simply adding a word to that standard, probationary to the term reserve officer. That too has been posted to the field for comment, and this time I move to the full commission the adoption of the revised standard 35.1.3 for full adoption.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Commissioner Johnson.
Next item, Mr. Chair, was a proposed revision to the Training Academy Standard 4.2.5 relating to fitness for duty. That has been posted for comment, and at this time I make the motion to move this recommendation to the full commission, the adoption of standard Training Academy Standard 4.2.5.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Commissioner Johnson.
Next item was the proposed revision to Law Enforcement Standard 84.1.6 relating to property and evidence audits. Language is added to provide more clarification. This too has been posted to the field for comment. At this time, I would move to the full commission the adoption of the revisions to Law Enforcement Standard 84.1.6.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Commissioner Johnson.
Next item before the committee was the proposed revision to Communications Standard 2.3.3 relating to services provided. This, too, was a language addition to clarify contract language for the provision of services by the communication centers. I am prepared at this time to move to the full commission the approved revision of Communication Standard 2.3.3 for full adoption.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Commissioner Johnson.
Next item was the proposed revision to Law Enforcement Standard 11.4.4 and Campus Security Standard 6.2.3 relating to external data. This was, again, a simple word modification to bring the language into more current terminology with the current technology. I recommend at this time to the full commission the adoption of Law Enforcement Standard 11.4.4.
It's been moved and seconded to make the wording change as described. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Commissioner Johnson.
My apologies, Mr. Chair. I failed to mention also that included Campus Security Standard 6.2.3, so I move that that standard be approved by the full commission.
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The next item was proposed revisions to Law Enforcement Standard 21.1.1, Communications Standard 3.1.1, Campus Security Standard 11.1.1, all relating to job task analysis. This has been posted to the field for comment. Following additional discussions, on this particular revisions to these standards, the committee recommends to move this to the full commission for approval. Law Enforcement Standards 21.1.1, Communications Standard 3.1.1, and Campus Security Standard 11.1.1.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Commissioner Johnson.
The next item was a proposed revision to Law Enforcement Standard 45.24, Communications Standard 2.6.5, and Campus Security Standard 23.2.4, all relating to citizen surveys. This standard was moved at the previous conference and recommended for posting for client comment. After receipt of considerable negative comment from the field on this one, and after further discussion, this item was, the committee's recommendation was to decline any action on this item at this time, and it will be reviewed possibly at a later date. So I would move to the full commission at this time, if that's necessary and appropriate, Mr. Chair, that they accept the committee's action to take no further action and to decline moving this standard forward.
I don't believe we need a motion on that. In the absence of moving an item for revision, it dies at the committee level.
Okay, thank you, sir. There were a couple of other items that came before the committee. Number one was the proposed revision to Law Enforcement Standard 1.2.9 regarding on Campus Security Standard 1.2.8 relating to biased policing. However, prior to posting this to the field and after discussion, the committee felt there was more information that was necessary and requested that the staff do some more research and come back to the committee with additional information. So at this time, that standard or the revision to those standards was tabled for future action. Also before the committee was discussion on the standards revisions for international clients. As you will recall, as a result of prior action by the commission, this item was put to the field to the international clients field for comment. Comments have been received. However, Commissioner Cordner, who was instrumental in working on this very diligently and providing much of the proposed changes, was unable to attend this conference, and the committee felt that it was necessary that we have some further in-depth discussion with Commissioner Cordner's presence. So again, this time, this item was tabled and will be tabled until a future date for further discussion. With no other business coming before the committee, we adjourned at 8:55.
Thank you, Commissioner Johnson. I think, again, for the sake of the audience, and you already have a flavor of this, SRIC, carries out really the meat and potatoes work of the commission in terms of constantly reviewing and updating our standards to keep them relevant and progressive. And as described by the chairman, we put a lot of weight on the input from our client agencies by virtue of the fact that there was a revision prepared to go forward to the full commission today and based largely on client feedback. That revision was held back. So please, to all the commissioners who serve on that committee, thank you for the hard work and long work that goes into running the committee. Next up, we have the Awards Committee. Commissioner Womack.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Awards Committee met electronically with a brief discussion because we had no awards to discuss. There were no nominations for Triarch, Bittner, or Assessor Awards at this time. We had a brief discussion about looking at the requirements for certain awards, including the Triarch Awards, and we will be continuing that discussion to make sure that the awards as we have now remain relevant to the programs that we have.
Thank you, Commissioner Womack. The CALEA Agency Support Program Committee, Commissioner Purcell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The CALEA Agency Support Program Committee met via web conference on February 23rd, 2015. Joining me on that web conference were Commissioners Myers, Vice Chair Weber, Treasurer Margolis, and Secretary Holt. We approved the previous minutes of the committee that was held February 24th, 2014, and we then moved right on into the applications that were submitted for the 2015 initial accreditation fee waiver. And after discussing those particular agencies, the CALEA staff received 7 of those applications, and we can only award 6 of those agencies. So we are recommending the following agencies to receive the initial accreditation fee waiver, those being Arkansas City Police Department, Missouri, Charlestown Police Department, West Virginia, University of Maryland Eastern Shore Police Department, Georgetown Police Department, Massachusetts, Placerville Police Department, California, and Rock Hill Police Department, Missouri. So on behalf of the CALEA Agency Support Program Committee, Mr. Chair, I make a motion to the full commission that we approve those agencies for the 2015 initial accreditation fee waiver.
It's been moved and seconded to accept the 6 mentioned agencies. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Commissioner Purcell.
Mr. Chair, with no other work to come before this particular committee, we adjourned at 3:05 p.m. on February 23rd, 2015.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Purcell. That concludes our committee reports, and at this time, we open a public session. Conference after conference, the commissioners sit forward and create an opportunity for those of you in the audience to share what's on your mind, and oftentimes all we hear are crickets. So we certainly and strongly encourage you, if you would like to contribute any feedback or ask any questions, make any comments at this time, this is your time on the agenda to address the full commission. So with that, who would like to go first? Seeing no hands or a rush to the front of the room, we will move on to old business. Is there any old business to come in front of the commission at this time? Hearing none, I will open for new business to come in front of the commission at this time. With that, I would like to turn the agenda over to our executive director, Mr. Craig Hartley.
I'm starting to feel a little bit like a weak pitch hitter when there's no comments from the floor, so if you guys could help me out in the future with that a little bit, I would be obliged. But to you, Mr. Chairperson, and members here for the full commission, thanks for the work that you've done this week and contributing so greatly to the 106th meeting of this commission. And although it's been an important association for the last 4 decades, I can tell you that from the work that's taken place this week, the tradition of excellence continues with CALEA, not only with the appointment of 2 new commissioners in the persons of Douglas Knight, Chief of Police from Henrico County, but also Bart Conley from Cape Coral, Florida as well. What did I say? Middleton. You ever notice when you get up in front of people, you say things you probably wish you didn't say? Thanks, Doug, for putting that out for me. But you know, I can also tell you that those 2 individuals bring a tremendous range of experience and professional insight that I think helps carry this particular commission forward. And although the entire commission have strived to be create the very best products and opportunities for progressive public safety agencies through this accreditation process, the work continues. As most of you know, the work of this commission is only compensated through the gratification that they receive from knowing that they provide the very best services possible for those agencies that participate in our process. Now, despite the poor pay that goes along with us, I need to tell you a little bit of what they've done this week. First of all, they developed and amended standards that Commissioner Johnson read for about 10 minutes there, which is an indication of the work that happens. They've reviewed about 100 agency assessment reports. They've taken actions to provide 6 agency support awards, which allows underfunded public safety agencies to participate in accreditation. They began the work to establish future conference venues that you've heard about. They've developed new investment strategies to ensure the financial solvency of CALEA moving forward. And they've conducted internal conflict of interest reviews to promote the greatest levels of integrity within our process. And they finalized the final audit report that took place this time. And finally, and probably as important as anything, they've already started work for the future in terms of future initiatives, and we're going to start doing a full review of our standards in regard to some of the most recent high-profile reports that we've seen in the industry. And they do this, I need to repeat this, they do this because CALEA accreditation matters. Now, these commissioners play a significant role in this process, as you know, but I believe that collectively we have this responsibility to keep this process moving forward and strong for all of those that have taken the oath of office to serve those in the communities that we provide services with or to. Public safety service providers deserve the very best that we can offer, and we always must be critical and consider our actions or inactions as we evolve as a new organization. This includes not only application of best practice standards, but advocacy, from my perspective, for accreditation with peer organizations to more broadly develop professional service models that can be trusted by those that we are all sworn to serve. I can assure you that each and every action of this commission takes that into consideration as part of their objectives. Some examples of work that have actually happened that were not mentioned today over the past several months in between conferences is the release of a more client-centric and progressive accreditation model to really support the progressive development of agencies. And also a partnership with Power DMS that you've heard about to ensure that we're providing the very best software support for the accreditation management process at the very lowest cost. The development and release of a new conference app that I hope has helped this week, and the development of a new corporate video that we hope you can use to share information with others about the process and attract new agencies to accreditation as well. We've also engaged in a process of developing a new piece of software that we will use for reporting of assessment activities, and it's going to have a portal inside of it that allows agencies to do self-reporting where it's appropriate. And we're also involved in significant policy groups such as the IACP model policy, and we pay particular attention to the President's Commission on 21st Century Policing report that was recently released. Now, these types of initiatives help keep CALEA relevant and ensures that we have a strong return on investment opportunity for agencies that participate. To me, CALEA does matter, and it's through the servant leadership of others like you here today that make a difference for the police officer, the sheriff, the highway patrolman, the communications specialist, and the campus security officer, so that everyone can have all the best in the delivery of public safety services. Now, I have a couple of quick announcements for you, and time is ticking on this, but the host agency has a static display here today that they're going to run until 3 p.m. You don't have much time for that, but I wanted to make sure you knew that. It takes place on the south lawn lot in lot number 6. Also, and probably more importantly, each review committee today has a meeting space following this business session to discuss pending issues with agencies. Now, this forum provides an opportunity for the commissioners and agency representatives to discuss relevant actions and activities since the close of assessments, and it's an invitation only, so unless your agency's asked to be present there, please recognize the importance of this time for others that have been asked to appear. And I need to give you some updates on these meeting rooms. Committee A will meet in Shasta 2. Committee B will meet in Cascade 2. Committee C will meet in Teton 1. Committee D will meet in Teton 2. And Committee E will meet in Shasta 1. This is probably my last chance to speak this conference, so I want to say thanks again for your attendance and your participation, and the Commission looks forward to celebrating your successes through accreditation. Thank you, Mr. Chair, and the full Commission.
Thank you, Mr. Executive Director. And lest any of you mourn the fact that the Commission serves voluntarily, let me reassure you, they feed us as if we're going off to slaughter. So they take pretty good care of us. At this time, I'd like to reinforce the deep appreciation of the Commission to all of our staff, the CALEA staff, the folks who really do the heavy lifting, not only at the conferences, but in the time period between the conferences, the folks who coordinate all of your on-sites, the folks who are on the end of the phone when the assessors call with a question, not knowing what to do perhaps, the folks who are behind the scenes making sure that when we all show up at the various conference locations, things work the way we've grown to expect them to work. And so a tip of the hat and deep appreciation to all the staff that are here for the work you do on an ongoing basis. I also want to thank all of you in the audience today. We heard earlier that there were 497 registered attendees, and we wish that all of them could have been here this afternoon at our public meeting, but we do thank you for being here. Your participation, your interest in the business of running the Commission, and your holding us accountable to provide you the services you need and want from CALEA is very important. And finally, I want to thank my peer commissioners for their support and patience for a rookie chairman running the first conference. Hopefully I didn't trip too badly yet this week. There's still the banquet yet to come. And thank you all for your patience and support. I can't tell you enough what a collegial, professional group of men and women we on the commission get to work with, both at the staff level, but particularly the group of folks who come, who all have day jobs, travel all over the country and beyond to come here and work with all our client agencies. I'm sure I speak for all of us when I say it's our privilege to serve you as a commission. With that, and absent any additional items for this meeting, I will close the business meeting. I wish you all luck in your reviews tomorrow morning, and we'll see you at the banquet tomorrow night. Thank you. Yeah, I'm sure we grab. You could have left your
That's okay. I didn't even say anything. Somebody else said something to you. I knew who you were talking about.
This woman I used to work with from the railroad, actually, she was pretty smart. She came from